If you pin me down and ask me to share the one thing I think is most important for a writer to know, this is what I would tell you. And it's probably not what you think. Let's go. Let me tell you a quick story. It was 2014 and I had been writing and rewriting and rewriting and rewriting my novel for about 3 years. Looking back, I know that 3 years isn't all that long, but it felt long. And more importantly, I was at an impasse. I was emailing agents my book pitch, which in the world of publishing is called querying, and I was getting no's from them over and over. But when an agent who had turned me down was generous enough to get on the phone with me and talk about what she would need to see in a revision in order to reconsider the book, I thought, okay, there's some hope here. So I revised it and I sent it back to her, and she turned me down again. And so I revised it again, and I sent it back to her again, and she turned me down again. Over about 18 months, she turned me down a total of 3 times. I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do to make the manuscript better. I had taken tons of writing classes. I had gotten feedback a gajillion times from my fellow writing students and from writers in my writing group. I had restructured the format of the book twice, and I felt the weight of having done all this work. I felt heavy. I felt burnt out. I was pretty sick of the book and kind of sick of working on it. I just didn't know what to do next, but I didn't want to give up after having invested all this time. So I Googled editor for a novel and found a site where I ended up spending $3,000 on hiring an editor and crossing my fingers. Several weeks later, she sent over my manuscript full of notes along with an editorial memo. The editorial memo was just a letter from her that accompanied the manuscript full of notes. I didn't even make it to opening the manuscript because when I finished reading this editor's letter, I didn't need to. I honestly, to this day, have never opened the manuscript to look at her line edits. Here is an excerpt from the letter that this editor wrote to me. Dear Mary, thank you so much for entrusting your manuscript to me. It's such a wild and original novel. I truly have never read anything like it. There were so many sentences that I loved, so many quips that made me laugh out loud. It's rare to see prose that's so clean and confident, especially in a debut novel. I can tell you honestly that you have a special talent for writing, and I have no doubt that you have many books in your future. Let me warn you up front, I'm going to give you some tough love in this editorial letter. I want you to look at this edit as not only about this novel, but about your growth as a writer. Writing a novel is hard work, and every revision is practice for this novel and the next. My main project is to investigate why your novel is getting rejected and how we can change that around. There is an enormous amount of potential here. The concept is new and interesting, and your writing is so sharp, funny, and smart with an eye for the absurdities of modern day life. You have the humor in spades. It's the heart that you need more of, and heart demands deep work. I should say here that I was really impressed to find as I was reading that the prose was near flawless on a sentence-to-sentence level. Your writing is remarkable. But if you're serious about this novel, I want to encourage you to give your characters more love. With gratitude and best wishes. And she signed her name. Whew, damn. The moment I read her words, I knew she was right. She said I had humor in spades, but it was heart that I needed more of. My book needed heart. I don't know if that letter has the same effect on you, that it had on me, since it's personal for me. And of course, it's only an excerpt, you're not getting the full thing. But by this part in particular, I felt pretty gutted. I'd known, while writing that it was true deep down, that parts of it were empty, and that they were empty because I wasn't letting myself feel while I was writing. I had taken all those writing classes on how to write beautiful sentences, and as the editor noted, I had apparently nailed that. I could write sentences, but I had hoped I could pull off an amazing story just with good sentences and cleverness and writing devices and an inventive structure. But no, that much was now clear. I could not. I had to show up emotionally. I had to write with heart, meaning I had to trust myself enough as a writer to feel something as I was writing and to put that on the page. Cut to the end of this tale, I took my editor's words seriously and I rewrote the story over the next 6 weeks with heart this time. And ultimately, that was the version that landed me my literary agent. My wonderful agent, Claire, was and still is the agent who had rejected me 3 times before. I worked up the courage, or a better word is probably audacity at this point, to pitch her a 4th time. And a mere 48 hours later, this is the email I got back from her. Mary, I stayed up late to finish this, having started it just today, and wanted to email you so you would know my feelings first thing tomorrow. Oh, it is beautiful. I am both astounded at the metamorphosis since last time and not, because these glimpses of something so very beautiful and true were most definitely there before. But this, it feels like some carapace, some nut has been cracked open. And all that without losing any of the incredible funniness and unsappiness that you always had. I snorted on the subway. It is the most exciting thing I have reread in ages, and I find myself just intensely moved. I would love to be a part of this and to be your agent. What do you think? Can we do this? Are you having others read it? Let me know your thoughts. And that was it. That was the difference between 3 rejections and, an enthusiastic invitation to work with her. The only difference was that I had given it heart. The most important thing you can do for yourself as a writer is to trust yourself enough to write with heart. You are the only one with the vision, and you're the only one who can put feelings into your story so that a reader can feel them too. Okay, if you're wondering, how do I do that though? Well, good news. I have now built an entire writing program around this idea. If you've made it this far in the video, I'm guessing that you're writing a book or want to write a book. And if so, I want to talk to you. When I'm not writing, my mission in life is to help writers write their dream books. I love it. I live for it. If you're curious to know more, I have a free video walking you through my process for writing a book, and you can get it by clicking below and answering 2 questions to apply to my program, the Book Incubator. You can get the video whether you join or not. There's no pressure to enroll. So just click below, tell me a little bit about you and your book or your book idea. You just fill out the form online. I'm so excited to hear from you.